unemployment. Now, with the current job market being as cooked as it is, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are unemployed right now. And there's gonna be a few stages you go through while being unemployed. The first one is happiness and enjoyment. Now, you're gonna enjoy unemployment about the first week or two. You're gonna be having a lot of fun. Probably gonna be watching all your movies, all your shows, playing your game. Maybe going hanging out with your friends. Ordering food. Just enjoying yourself, enjoying not having to clock in, not have to wake up early to go to work. No worries. Just enjoying yourself, enjoying life. But then after a while, it gets a little boring. And after you watched all your shows, watched all the movies, played all your games, beat all the missions in GTA, shit start to get boring, And it gets to the point where days start to blend. You don't even know what day it is. It could either be Monday or Thursday or Saturday. You don't even know, because every day feels the same. You wake up, you eat, wash your ass, or maybe you don't even shower. Maybe you just stay in bed all day. And every day it just starts to blend into one day. And then that's when you get to the second stage of sadness and depression. Now, after you had your fun, you go through this deep depression of sadness because you realize that you are a broke, unemployed bitch. And all you do is sit around the house all day and you realize, man, this shit is sad. It stops being fun and it just starts being sad. You're all depressed. Everybody's going out and doing shit with their lives while you're just unemployed and broke, not making no money, can't even buy shit. And it gets really depressing, especially if you're living with other people. You see everybody else going to school or work, and you're just at home being a lazy broke bum. Shit gets really sad, bro. But then after that stage, you get to stage 3, where you decide enough's enough, I'm tired of being a broke bum, and you try to go get a job. Now, unfortunately for you, the job market right now is absolutely cooked, absolutely fried. It's terrible. So you spend a week or two constantly on Indeed, applying to hundreds of jobs. Maybe you're calling places, emailing places your resume. Maybe, you're going the extra step. Just for none of them to reply, get ghosted by all of them. Maybe you get, one reply. They call you in for an interview. They say they're gonna hit you back. They never do. All the jobs just ghost you. And it's a bad experience. You're just constantly on Indeed and you're not getting a job. And then that's where you get to stage 4, where you just start questioning your life. You start questioning yourself because you wonder, what's the point of this shit? Why am I here? Why can't I get a job? Why am I alive? You just start questioning your life. Start rethinking all the decisions you did in the past year or two. Start contemplating about all the bad shit you done in the past. And you just start questioning your life. You just start wondering, what's the point of this? But then you go to stage 5, and that's finally getting a job. And that's if you lucky, If you're lucky enough to finally get a job, congratulations, cause man, it's hard as fuck, bruh. It's hard, Everybody wants to hire, but at the same time not hire, I mean, it's competitive to get a fast food job, it's crazy, but you finally get your job, you're making money, you're working. And then that's when it hits you. Nigga, working is ass, bro. This shit is terrible. You realize that working sucks, and that's stage 6. You just realize all this shit is ass, working sucks, you can't afford nothing, you're barely making any money, you're waking up at 6 in the morning to clock in, you're going home at like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know. You're working 8 hours a day, a 9 to 5, and you realize this shit is awful. You barely got time to do anything you like, you're barely making money, you're working your ass off, and you can't even afford McDonald's. That's tough, you know? You realize this shit is ass, and you really start to hate your life. And you start to be depressed, and you start to hate your job. And then that's when you have the idea that I'ma quit. And you quit your job, and you're like, I'ma be unemployed again, cause you know, being unemployed, it sounds better than working. And then the cycle starts all over again. And it's a tough cycle, man. All these stages is rough, you know. Once you finally get the job, then you're just reminiscing about being unemployed and you want to be unemployed again. And then once you're unemployed, you realize this shit is ass and you want a job. And then it just keeps going, you know. You get the job, then you hate it. And you know what I'm saying? That's tough. You know, unemployment is not as fun as people make it seem. You know, it may be fun the first week or two, but after a while, the shit gets ass. But hey, man, it's your boy Young Ty Kiss. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. On the road to 200 subscribers. Appreciate you for rocking out with me. Peace out.